Welcome to the 142nd broadcast of the T Rose Show. It's your host, Keith. I got John with me.
Good morning, folks.
All right, we've got some couple announcements. We're going to be doing some future cases. I don't know how many felonies and crimes committed in one Utah case we're watching. That seems to be just going, and every day it seems to get worse and worse. And the rules seem to change over and over again. In other words, when a lawyer loses his ass, man, he does not like losing, so he changes the rules in midstream. Have you noticed that, John? In this case, the Utah case?
Yep. I mean, he'll change it from one day to the next.
So, yeah, I mean, and then just completely make up fabricated laws. Crap they just make up in midair, just in the middle of a case. They'll just make it up and then say, "Oh well, that doesn't." In other words, when it completely tanks their case, when they start losing their ass, and they tank their case, all of a sudden it doesn't exist. That's all BS. Doesn't exist. So anyway, we'll give you details when the case is over. But we've been watching that for probably months. I mean, since last year. But it's been getting more and more, they've been pushing more and more to get something done that should never have been done in the first place. We're going to have more info on trafficking in the near future. So that's some messy stuff. We've got some evidence, but it's not really presented right. So what we got to do is, it's hard to see some of the pictures and some of the things. So we're going to clean it up and see if we can get that presented and get the lady on here that put it all together and do an interview with her and show you pictures of what's really going on and how this stuff is being hidden in plain sight. I mean, you're seeing websites that have this crap on it. And whenever you complain about it, they just block your IP address. So state-sponsored pedophilia is basically what it is, which brings us to the Epstein case. Folks, I mean, we can have a pool and put some money on this. Does anybody think that anybody in the system gives a flying crap what Epstein did? Especially when the DOJ, Department of Justice, owned the airplane that he was bringing people to Pedo Island. Literally on the airplane. We got some evidence on that. Same, plane number, same tail number, the whole thing.
Logbook.
Yeah, logbooks. All this other stuff. So do you really think that he would kill himself over pedophilia? Oh, well, he was just so shamed that he was going, or messing around with 15-year-old girls that he went and committed suicide. They still have not come out and told everybody what that's all about and what's going on. We're not going to talk about that whole thing today, but I did want to bring this up to you guys so everybody saw, because actually we're going to have some very positive information today, which I think is be a whole lot better than this negative crap. And I'm sure everybody's real sick and tired of the Epstein crap, okay? What's really going on is this. Why would they want to get rid of Epstein? It's because they were getting ready to nuke the world. We actually have that evidence on T-Row. And they were getting ready to nuke the world. So what they were going to do is they were going to nuke Iran. And then there's this thing called blowback. In other words, it's the radiation blows back and will go through other countries. And as the globe spins, will kill thousands, if not millions of people. That's what the plan was. And Epstein was there to keep the people that were involved in the plan quiet. That's what his job was. And that was to shame them in public, to keep them from opening their mouth. Well, everything be taken from you and all this other kind of crap. Have you noticed that people really don't even seem to care whether Epstein was a pedo or not? It's kind of sad, but it's true. I mean, if they're going to let LGBTQ parades go on in their country, why in the hell would they care if Epstein was messing around with 15-year-old girls? I mean, I'm sure there's a certain amount that care, but I just didn't really see the public outcry over it. But the real deal was they, like I said, they don't care about anything else other than the fact that they were getting ready to nuke the world. And it has to do with nuclear rods and all this other kind of stuff. And the video is on the T-Row show. Actually, I just can't remember which one it was.
I can't.
All right, what were you saying, John?
I just going to mention the fact I don't remember the exact one it is either, but it was about the one of the Dom
Right.
recording.
Yeah, the Dom organization, LLC.
Yep.
It was Epstein Mueller cases come home to roost. Listen carefully. We put that up a month ago, and that tells you it was right after the 37th and before the 138th broadcast. I would listen to that. It's about 20 minutes long. It tells you exactly what they were getting ready to do. And the source is fairly, it's reliable. I would go with the source. We have a couple of other cases that came up that I don't know why this actually burns my ass, but it does. When I see this one, lab owner arrested for falsifying results of drug tests. Now, what burns my ass about things like this is when people are in such a trusted position and they betray you. Can you see this picture, John? The woman
Yep.
with the shirt? Okay.
Yep.
And you're betrayed. And what you're looking at when you see this face is, ha ha, screw you, I got you. That's what it looks like to me. And you can see the stress. There's the stress right here. And they always have the stress there. Uh-oh, I got caught, ha ha, blah, blah, blah. And altering results of drug and paternity tests. Now, I wonder who involved this woman in doing that. Could have been a lawyer that was selling bonds. Bet you any amount of money, the chief, and that's what burns me, because he's never going to get caught. They're never going to get caught in Alabama. But the chief judge of the state who sells the bonds, more than likely indirectly had this woman alter paternity, drug tests, all this other stuff, so he could sell more bonds for the state, bring more money in. That would be investors to the stock market. And we've gone through all that. We've showed where they do that all the time. In other words, they sell bonds on every case. Okay, guaranteed that. Look, I mean, you can tell. She was reports that Ozark, Alabama police officers charged 36-year-old Brandy Murrah. Okay, now here's the deal: the police officers charged her, not the prosecutor, not a grand jury. Police officers. What happened that no one gets charged with anything unless it's by I don't know, what is that, an indictment? Isn't that an indictment, John?
It's
Or is that a Chinese word now?
I don't know. They change the meanings of words so much. It's almost impossible to keep up with what they're doing.
Yeah, somebody can't be indicted unless in other words, they can't be charged with anything unless there's an indictment from a grand jury. But right here, they got police officers charged her.
Yep.
That's when you got yourself a police state. Okay, that means the police to just come in and charge whatever they want. So basically, then the police will come back and go, "Oh, well, we're one of the people." Give a crap what you're doing, dude, and what you're trying to fly here. But the deal is, y'all got a police state, and somebody gave you the authority to charge something. I don't know who the hell did it. I think you just took it on your own. But
I was under the impression that the grand jury investigated the charges, and they either handed a true bill or a no bill over to the prosecutor to put on the docket for trial.
Yeah, I think that's what what they advertise that they do.
Yeah.
But I don't think they did that. I don't see it anywhere. All I see is Ozark, Alabama police officers charged 36-year-old Brandy. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
Read what kind of charges he dropped on her, so she'd turn and do his bidding. That's where I'd start looking is what has she been doing
yeah,
before she
from
got recruited.
from what we've seen, okay, folks, we've seen so many cases and the crap that they pull in cases, we don't believe anything that goes on here. Not one thing that happens. Here's another one. Here's Ann. Let me see. Okay, I think this woman here make so many excuses for her. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. 60,000 cases, 60,000 drug samples involved, 34,000 defendants during her 9 years at the lab. That means that you know how many what she did. Uh, it says while their attorneys challenged the charges based on Dukin's misconduct, they're calling it misconduct. Okay, many more defendants are expected to be released. Authorities said. Authorities. No, what authority? You just lost your authority because the only authority you had was this lady. What a joke. Said 1,140 inmates are currently serving time on cases in which Dukan was primary or secondary chemist. Now, this is what happens when you take God out of the schools. This is what happens when you take prayer out of the schools. This is what happens when you turn your back on your maker, okay? And you start putting your faith in people like this. Someone puts a white coat on, all of a sudden, all of you bow. It's a joke.
Yep, that's exactly what happens when you take the law out of your courts.
That's right. And you know, you ought to see some of the evidence we have just on the child trafficking alone. When you take God out of the country, when y'all turn your back on him, spit on him, slap him in the face, pee on his foot, whatever the hell you did. When you let the Hindus come in and take your 10 Commandments down, and they called it Christian. The Hindus had no business over here whatsoever. When they clearly sit there and they bow to idols right in front of you. You don't do anything or say anything about it. They can't figure out what's going on. What's so wrong with this country? Now, it wasn't happening before. It's happening now. It's getting worse. When you threw God out of the schools in the 60s, 1973, you were allowed to kill up to now 60 million children. Over 60 million kids. You put your faith in a freaking test, and it's 60,000 drug samples involving. Okay, do you know why it's taken so long to get all these people released? Oh, I don't know. They got to get rid of the bonds that they created in the stock market, so somebody doctored them. Come on,
Yep.
man, really?
When did they start mandatory blood tests when you went into jail?
It's whenever the chief of or the chief judge of the state needed the evidence to sell the bonds. That's when.
That's right. But that's when they started taking mandatory blood samples.
Yeah.
Hold you down and sit on you and force you to give blood.
And then there was all this other crap. Oh, they're taking my DNA for money, or I don't know what the hell it was, but
all kind of excuses.
yeah, all this dumb stuff. Not realizing this, basically all it was a chief judge liked or wanted actual evidence because there were so many people saying, "Hey, these people being wrongfully committed or wrongfully convicted." And so they got that. Oh, we'll put this in the doctor's hands. That way, we can just turn around and say, "Well, Doctor So and So said it was true." And how do you know? You know, they can do that and then sell the bonds again. It's all about money. It's all about the money. Okay. I screwed up big time, she says. She is quoted as saying in a state police report, "You think, lady? I messed up bad. It's my fault. I don't want the lab to get into trouble." Yeah, don't let your God get in trouble. You think there's something wrong? She says, Duncan said just wanted to get tool work done and never meant to hurt anyone. That's what she said. And he was going through personal problems. Then court. Then Melendez-Diaz was tough at first on her. In 2009, she had a miscarriage and other personal problems. Perhaps she was trying to be important by being the go-to person, Brian told state police. No, she was told to screw them up so they can get more bonds. That's what happened. You lying sacks. All right, this is what happens when the money is in the hands of a private organization, folks. When you have private bankers just doing it at their whim, they are not. Okay, go look. Go look at the what Trump said about China, and he ordered the companies to start looking somewhere else besides China. That came out in Twitter today or yesterday. All right, guess who comes in, John? Guess who comes in and starts saying what a president of the company can do and can't do, what he has authority to do and what he can't do. Gee, I wonder who that was. That would be, I don't know, maybe the Council on Foreign Relations starts spelling out what a president can do and what they can't do. So, if that's the fact, then who started this trade war with China?
Who gave those people the authority to override the people's vote to supposedly put him in office?
Right, and we're just talking. We're looking at the cover story of what happened. Okay, in other words, when we're saying this, doesn't mean we actually believe it. We're actually just telling you, yeah, this is what it looks like on the surface. So what happens is we start talking like that, and believe it or not, John, we get comments. They try to tell us the truth. We already know what's really going on, folks. We're just saying this is what it's like on the surface. This is the official story. The official story is that. Trump got all the electoral college votes, and Hillary was out, and she didn't get all those electoral college votes. She got the majority vote, is what they said. Then it comes out that they got 16 million votes or 26 million votes or something like that were created out of thin air for Hillary. So she actually didn't get the popular vote. This is all assuming that the people actually vote and their vote counts. See, you forget that last assumption that people are inhabitants. They're not a part of the United States. Their vote doesn't matter. The Senate in their private company has always voted for the president since the beginning. They have always voted for their president. The popular vote is just a show. They've already decided who's going in there. And apparently, the story got out about Hillary because Hillary was going to bomb Iran with nuclear bombs and kill everybody. So they said, okay, Hillary, you're out. Because guess what? They didn't do it to save the world. They do it to save their own ass. The senators did. Well, I don't want my children getting killed. So, well, shit, it matters to me. So let's put Trump in. All the rest of it's garbage. That's the whole deal with Epstein. Okay? So, what we got to do here is this. If you want control of your life again, you want control of your retirement, you want control of all these things and all your services and things like that, if you want to do something to save yourself and help yourself, turn your ways, clean up your life, get away from the freaking porn, get away from all the drugs and all this stuff you're running from because you can't handle reality and you can't handle the corruption of all these people. Put the money in the hands of the people. They create it. And I'm not talking about Federal Reserve notes. That's in the hands of just a few. So as long as they're doing that, they're the ones that are funding all this stuff. They know where all the money is. They know exactly what's going on everywhere because they track all their money. They track them with serial numbers. They know where money's going. They know how it's getting through there. They know where all the crime is happening, and they didn't say a word about it. They knew this nuclear war was getting ready to start. They knew what was going on. The feds never said anything, said a word about it to anyone. Then Trump comes back and says, today, I think he said, Federal Reserve is the enemy of the people. Well, no shit. Really? How long did you know that, John?
Back in the late 80s.
Mm-hmm. So just because somebody says it doesn't mean it, oh, well, this is just a new freaking revelation. All right, and we know that we've gotten 5 million hits in the last week. We know that. We show you the stats. We've got 3 million on one section on the SSL, and then the other one was 2.5 million, I think. People listen to the T-Row show per week. We get that. We do appreciate it. But if you want to save yourselves, if you want to help yourselves, first of all, we got to get God back into the country. We got to invite him back in. Okay? Have to invite Yahweh back into the country. So he's got the first invitation from me. Bring him back into the country. Because just because you don't believe in it doesn't mean it's not true. And I don't really give a crap whether you believe in it or not. He's invited back into the country. All right. How about you, John? You good to go with that?
I sure am. He's got my vote.
Got my vote. Invite him back in the country. All right.
Anytime he wants to come in, he's more than welcome.
All right. Okay. Second, let's get the currency controls and all this rocky crap and this and that and up and down and the money's worth this and the money's worth that and all this BS. Let's go back to local currencies. We need 3,140 local currencies. Because in the local currency laws, or you can, if the people have a local currency, they can use it within their local economy, but they can't cross the county lines. So we go with that original deal, and we say, okay, I'll tell you what, this is what we'll do. We'll use the General Post Exchange as the exchanger between currencies of each county. And we'll exchange it with the continental dollar, and we'll back your local currency with the continental dollar. This is the reason why the local currencies really haven't taken off very well. The reason is because a lot of them are pegged to or backed by the USD. And when you go and get it, okay, say you exchange $10, okay, exchange $10 for $10, and they say, oh, we can use that. That's no big deal. The $10. They say, but we're going to give you an extra $5 because you're spending it in our local currency, and that's how we promote this. And then people come back and say, well, you still have to pay the taxes, you still have to pay this by that, and you're still bound by it. So what's the point? You're not advancing anything. You're not benefiting anywhere, because you still have these private guys over there that are running child pornography rings, that are trying to open your borders, that are running your lives and your commerce, and not even voted in. They inherit it. Sounds kind of like a monarch again, doesn't it? It's just a monarch with a bunch of people instead of just one dude. So there's always that, okay? Or a dictatorship, or whatever you want to call it. So what we'll do is we'll take the continental dollar. It was tax-free, interest-free. It goes by government rules under the law of nations, and we'll back your dollars. Then what we're going to do is your money within your county. It could be anything that you want it to be. There were plenty of different types. And this is the generalpostexchange.org. That's generalpostexchange.org. We're using generalpostexchange.com as part of a newspaper to expand the newspaper. So we weren't using the General Post Exchange at the time. So I said, well, we got a good website here. I'll just use that. And you can go to the contact page. This is how this works. Go to the contact page. And it says you can also fill out the form below with your new local currency name of county and state. We will already have your contact information when you fill out the form. The contact person will also serve as admin of your own website on this server at no cost to the county. So what we're going to do, this is set up for those guys that know, this is set up as a multi-site. So we'll give you your own site, your own website, and then we'll have weekly classes to show people how these things work. Okay. And and basically you won't really even have to change anything unless you want to put a new blog post in it. But the site should do just fine. So each county and state will have their own website. We can build it fairly quickly. It doesn't take but an hour. And that means people will be able to exchange their Ithaca hours for Berkshires. Okay, so they have to go from so people that in Ithaca, they're stuck with just Ithaca hours there in Ithaca. They can't really go to other counties. So they come on here and they say, okay, I have this many Ithaca hours, and I want to spend my Ithaca hours in the county that has Berkshires. So why don't we do this? We exchange those Ithaca hours to Continental dollars, and from Continental dollars to Berkshires. Not too shabby. No exchange fees. All we ask is that those that work for Continental dollars can exchange their Continental dollars for Ithaca hours or Berkshires or other currencies, other local currencies in your local economy, which will help boost your economy. That's all we're asking. Not a bad deal. We're not even asking you to pay for the website. That's free. And we'll even train you for it because it's gonna benefit us too. It'll benefit everybody in this country. Everybody in this country is sick and tired of the BS. So, and they're tired of the constant up and down stuff. Okay. Now, why don't we do it this way? Okay, basically, it's relatively easy to launch a local currency, says Chris Sutherland, co-founder and director of the popular Bristol Pound. It's much more difficult to sustain it. Okay, getting started with your currency be simple. Sustaining a forward momentum once you're going is going to be the hard part. Well, not when you have a bunch of other currencies that are there and a bunch of forces behind that in the local currency areas, and then you have a central exchange. Okay, and then you have all these websites that everybody can go and say, look, they can go shop there, put up products and things like that. They can actually put them on their own websites and then link it back to the exchange. So all of a sudden you've got a massive network all across the country in all these local exchanges. It says getting started. Okay, it says, I told you yesterday I would be meeting up with B-Note team at Cafe Sage, okay, called Sage or Sage. Dropped some important knowledge on me. While starting your own currency might seem daunting, he said, remember that your success will depend on the little things that you do every day, making flyers, contacting residents and businesses, designing the dynamics of your system to be strong and easy to use. Okay, basically our system is right now is a labor-backed system. So just like Ithaca hours or Berkshires or anything else, it's all labor-backed right now. We need to start out there. So this is just the beginning of it. We're just starting. We'll get to the other stuff later, but everything's going to be labor-backed, hourly, time that you use, all these things, okay? Farmers can start getting involved in this because they're sick and tired of the crap too. They're sick and tired of getting crappy freaking prices for their stuff. Flea markets can use the local currency in the flea market. All you got to do is put the local currency in the newspaper, and we've got that for you. We also have legal notices section where you can put it in. Okay, so once you go to, and we're saying anybody can do this. Anyone. If you're considered a U.S. citizen, fine. We don't care. We're just trying to get the currencies back in the hands of the people. And therefore, when the people gather together in an assembly and start making the laws, give unto Caesar what is his. Okay? Which means if you control the currency, you control the city council. Right now, you have little private bankers up there in the Fed and the Bank of New York Mellon that control your city council. Because why? Because they're using their money. If you get a local currency and the people get together and say, all right, this city council's ours, and you're only going to get paid in our local currency. That's it. Or you don't get paid to be where you are. You're going to do what we tell you to do or get the hell out. That's the way it works. So y'all understand why you have problems in your cities, why you have problems in your counties, why the people are not in charge, why you go to city council and they sit there and ignore everything you say and everything you do, everything you talk about. They say, okay, your 5 minutes is up. Next. They don't care. They're just listening to you. Most of them are reading stuff. And some of them are on their computer playing, blackjack or some crap. They don't care. Because they already have their orders from that little group of people up there in the Fed and up there in Bank of New York Mellon. They already have their orders. This is what's going to happen. And who? Oh, I don't know. Council on Foreign Relations. An unelected body is running your life. How are they doing it? They're doing it with the money. The money, guys. And having your local currency is perfectly legal. There's no one that can say that you can't do this. No one in this whole wide world. So what do you want to do? You want to bring God back into your life and into your counties and into your cities. Bring him back into your country. And if you want the LGBT international organization crap out of your town and quit sexualizing your children, get them the hell out. Go where you can spend your money. Have a good day. Because I'm sure everybody's tired of it. And they're sick and tired of the BS. Okay? You can go in, you just go in how to start your own. 4 simple steps. I'll show you in a moment. Blah, blah, blah. What's the goal here? Blah, blah, blah. Step 1, amorphous stage. Unity is strength. The young poet, when there's teamwork and collaboration, wonderful things can happen. Everybody's got to start working together. Get your local money going. Just come up with a name first. Then you can come up with your designs. If you come up with a name, we can put it here on the General Post Exchange, then we'll put it in the newspaper. Then you come up with your designs. 1s, 5s, 10s, 20s, 50s, and 100s. Okay? You design it based on what your county's, what it's popular for, what it's known for. Whether you're a farming town or whether you're this town or that town or oil town, whatever it is. You can put these images on your local currency. All right? Because we're looking to do this in digits and we're looking to do this in paper. We want it in your hands. And every one of them have to have a serial number. And we want that in your hand so you have control of your own currency again. You don't have to worry about the internet. Everybody still has a way to do this. And we're going to be putting tellers in every freaking town, in every local currency. 1 teller or 2 tellers to exchange their money to other currencies that they can use in other towns. Okay, but nobody can rule a town from 1,000 miles away. And that's why the whole Washington, D.C. BS, where you got 1 or 2 representatives that go over there and they got to sit and fight for money all day and all that. Well, you got your own money. You don't need all that anymore. It's all done. All of it's about fighting for more money from private bankers. And the only reason why they would give them any money or any credit is if it benefited them, not you, and not the local economy. They could care less. And it's 1-to-1 all the way across the board in every county, in every town, 1-to-1. No transfer fees. Can sit and transfer all day long. No big deal. You're going to go to another town, go in there and look for the town. Oh, they do this. I'm going to transfer my money to Continentals, and then Continentals, just doesn't cost anything, Continentals to their money. So it becomes like a competition with each other. Because, come on over to our town. Come to our town. We got a great town. So they're going to have, that's when the local law enforcement starts saying, oh, well, wait a minute. Yeah, it's actually better if we have more people coming to our town and we don't ticket the crap out of them. So we can bring more money in. We already have our own money. So you don't need to go get somebody's money. So they can lax up and they can get rid of all this corruption in the courts, because the courts have to start taking local money. Otherwise, you're out. We're not going to deal with your stock market anymore. We're not going to deal with you bonding our children anymore and our people, basically treating us like slaves. We're sick of it. That's why we say the local currency is the answer. We were going to do this with people with gold mines. Well, obviously, people with gold mines are kind of dumb, because we really didn't hear from any of them. We had one, I think, that was telling us, they say, well, we have a gold mine, but we can't get the money to get the gold out of the ground. None of the banks will give us credit to get the gold out of the ground. But once we get the gold out of the ground, now they'll give us money. And we showed them, well, you can do this. You don't have to get the gold out of the ground. You can do this and still monetize your money. You can still make money on your money or on your gold. And nothing. It's like, how stupid can you be? How thick, man? And we got a lot of that. There's a lot of thickness going on. I mean, the offer's still open, but really, seriously? You couldn't figure out that you could actually make money 10% on every transaction on gold that's sitting in the ground? And you still wouldn't do it? Thick, man, thick. So, here's another one. How to start your own currency. This was a gold standard certificate these guys tried to do. Sound commercial banking. How to start your own private currency. Now, the continental dollar is legal tender for all debts, public and private. So we can exchange these for you. There's no taxes. So it's not like we're making you or changing the dynamics of your money, nor is it like we are controlling your money or regulating it. We're not doing either. It's all equal. So it sounds complicated, but really as simple as 3 steps. First, a massive bank of stuff. Let's say gold. They're trying to get you to do this, right? This was another guy that thought, oh, the gold standard certificate. Guess what? Didn't work. I wonder why, because it wasn't labor backed. Then they go, well, how do we get the money created and how do we go in there? You go to your voucher system. We'll show you the voucher system where people do something for somebody else. They sign a voucher, they go and cash it in. It becomes a worth something. A movable item becomes money, a medium of exchange. And we'll start that. We can turn a whole county economy around within 6 months. If people just get up and start doing something for somebody else. And it's much easier to regulate those that go, oh, well, all I got to do is just get this voucher. So I'm going to go play some video games. And then you go, I'll tell you what, we'll say that we did somebody's roof or that we cleaned somebody's house or we did this and this. And then you vouch for it. And then we'll just take it over and then we got money. Then we can just play video games all day. Well, people know people like that in that county. Do you think they're not going to check up on you? Now this gives the cops something to positively do, is to start policing honesty. If somebody says, yeah, I did somebody's roof or I painted somebody's house, where was the house? The cop could show up to the guy and say, hey man, did this guy actually pay for your, paint your house? Yeah, he did. I saw it. And it was actually, here was a picture of it. This was this color. Now it's this color. Great. Thanks. Appreciate it. Now the cop's got something to do. And for me coming and checking up on you, can you sign this voucher for me? Think, people, think how good this can be. All you got to do is create your own currency. Now they're going to say, well, why don't we go towards cryptocurrency? Reason is, here's 10 steps. Everybody's got their own thing. That's how they do it. There's 10 steps to creating your own local currency. And what we're trying to tell you, folks, it's legal. You can do this. Anyone, doesn't matter. If you're sitting in your house right now and you're watching TV or you're listening to this show or you're watching it on a computer and everything else, and you're doing absolutely nothing, and you're sitting there, you go, you know what? I'm going to start my own currency. You can just step right up and say, I'm going to start my own currency. That's it.
Would you believe back at the turn of the century, every one of the big companies had their own currency?
Mm-hmm.
They even wrote a song about it. I owe my soul to the company store. That's where they would loan you more groceries than you had currency coming at the end of the week. They held the balance for you. And basically that's what the Federal Reserve is doing. And you're sold to their company store right now through the US dollar.
Right. It's just a very large company.
That's right. And
And it appears as if it's government, but it's not. It's just a really large company.
That's right. And you can free yourself by putting your own currency in your own counties, in your own towns.
That's right. And there was a local exchange trading scheme that was Let's. I remember this. This software doesn't work anymore. There's time banking, which I can still put on the General Post Exchange. That software does work. We can do that on time banking if people want to do that. Try money as debt or one of the films. In other words, what you have to do is the way it works in the system now is in order to get money into the system and printed, they have to loan it in, and therefore it's interest, and they never print the interest. You get it? So that's how they do it. How we do it is that you go to your neighbor and say, do you have anything that needs to be done? And the neighbor says, yeah, but I don't have any money to do it. All right, what do you need done? And you don't know how to do it, right? Great. So what do you need done? You know how handymen can go crazy on this. All they got to do is sign the voucher, go to the teller, and deposit that in their account or cash it in for cash. Simple as that. Now they got money. That's how you bring it in. That's how it's created into circulation. The more people do for other people, a positive thing, the more people do for other people, the more money everybody has, which means now you're being rewarded for doing something good instead of, well, no good deed goes unpunished. That's what happens when you bring God back into your country, when you invite him back. Things start turning around and start changing, and everything's positive again. And little children don't have to worry about their butts being screwed. They don't have to worry about being abused and exploited by fat old men that need to be tossed into, my own opinion, tossed into the ocean. Get them the hell out of here. That's sick. Devil worshiping crap's got to go. You see what happens when you do it. When you allow it in your country, you see what happens. We don't care what status you are. American Indians, you guys more than welcome, because this is what we do. If you go over to the About page, this is going to be the last thing I'm going to tell you. It's up to you guys. It's up to everyone. It's your own personal decision. The General Post Exchange serves as a national and international exchange buying between local currencies from state to state and country to country, so counties that have a local currency can spend their money in other places. All exchanges are without an exchange fee. Holy crap. That means you guys in Canada, I believe you guys can start your own local currencies. You want to use our exchange to do it? Rock and roll. I don't care. Folks in Mexico, you sick and tired of it? Start your local currencies. Country to country. Okay? And there are plenty of local currencies. I'm going to show you just a list, then we're going to go ahead and end this broadcast.
See it fine.
Okay, this is what we got here. Local exchange trading systems. That's Let's. That doesn't work. The time-based currency, that's not a problem. Here's interstate currencies. They got Arizona. They had Tucson time traders. I think Arizona dollars is still going. That guy is still going. California Barter Bucks, Bay Bucks, Berkeley Barter Network, Berkeley Bread, Central Pound, Davis. Problem is they say, oh, this is not legal tender. Well, you can go ahead and we will accept your private currency into legal tender, and then you can transfer it to another town, however you want to do it. We already have the legal tender. Fair Buck as the original union and the original government. So there's California's got a bunch. I don't know how many of these are still in play. Okay, some of them are not, like inactive, Carbondale, Spuds, community cash, inactive. Some of these in Colorado are inactive. Same thing here. Monetary systems, IMS barter. I don't know if that's any good or not. I think some lawyers run that thing. Florida, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to say barter is taxable. So when people started going to the barter system, the lawyers, what did they do? Oh, they started losing. So they changed the rules again right in the middle and say, oh, barter is taxable. Sure it is, buddy. Atlanta hours, Atlanta, Georgia, Hawaii, Aloha hours, Boise hours, labor-backed economy. It goes on and on. There's a bunch of them. Okay, some of them they're still there, but a lot of them stop because I think the only one that's really keeps going very well is Ithaca hours. They have Ithaca dollars, and then some of them they get going and they get moving and everything, and then out, they're done. However, all the ones that are in play right now, you're more than welcome to come to the General Post Exchange, and then fill out the contact thing. Let us know what you've got. Let us know who your name of your money, how you guys operate, and then we'll go ahead and put it on the exchange, and then we'll get you your own website, and you can, on this particular, it would be generalpostexchange.org / and then whatever your money's called, that will be your site. So we'll start working together, and we'll get them to go across county lines, state lines, and everything else, and get this economy booming in this country. Okay, which will help because in the long run, it'll help because you have one guy sitting there in a White House. Don't really know if he's in charge or not. Can't figure that out. It kind of looks like he is or isn't. That's always a toss up for everybody. But I think he just called the Federal Reserve the enemy. Declared him the enemy the other day. It's time for the people to start getting together and start moving and getting off their dead ass and quit worrying about what one man's going to do and start helping yourselves. So everybody's got to get their big boy panties on, or big boy pants on, and big girl panties on, and start coming out with this local exchange. We don't care who you are. If you care about your country, if you care about your county, you care about your local communities, and you're tired of looking at all the garbage and all the crap, let's come out with your own currency and let's get moving. Okay, and we'll show you about the voucher system. We'll throw a class together. We'll put a video together for you also, where people can just go watch it and say this is how it's done, and we'll show you every single step and everything is and how it works. Okay, so thanks for listening to the 142nd broadcast of the T-Row Show. We got a future. All you got to do is grab it. Thanks for listening.